Welcome back. Today, we're diving into an absolutely brutal environmental stress test that's happening right above our heads. If you live in central Oklahoma, specifically around the Midwest city area, your home is fighting a daily, punishing battle against the elements. So, let's explore exactly how to navigate this unique roofing challenge and what it actually takes to protect your home.
Let's kick things off with a number that really sets the stage: 105. That's the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit that our Oklahoma summer heat can easily hit. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't just spike there once and go away. It literally bakes your asphalt shingles for weeks straight until they crack, curl up, and lose the protective granules. And once those granules wash away, the vulnerable fiberglass underneath is just sitting there, completely exposed to the sun, which fast-tracks the breakdown of your whole roof.
Then we've got 60, as in 60 miles per hour. That is the speed of the straight-line winds tearing through flat terrain neighborhoods like Soldier Creek and Ward's Corner during our routine spring thunderstorms. Because there are no natural windbreaks out there, that force grabs right at the edges of your shingles. It's basically acting like a giant invisible crowbar, ripping the material up, snapping that crucial sealant bond, and leaving the roof wide open for the next rainstorm.
But here's a number that might actually blow your mind: 150 degrees. That's how insanely hot a poorly ventilated attic can get during the summer. I mean, it's an oven up there. That trapped, sweltering heat is literally cooking your roof from the inside out. When the heat has nowhere to escape, it warps the wooden decking that holds your shingles up and drastically cuts down the life of your entire roofing system.
Okay, so let's put this all together, because when you combine that 105-degree surface heat, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and 150-degree attic temperatures, you get this vital statistic: Midwest city roofs deteriorate 30% faster than roofs in milder climates. 30%. These numbers prove that local roofs face a relentless environmental stress test. It's really not a matter of if your roof will take a beating, but when. And understanding that rapid aging is your very first step in defending your property.
To help you survive this stress test, our explainer today is going to systematically break down these problems and look at the real solutions. We'll be covering the extreme weather threat, how roofs actually fail, upgraded building codes, spotting bad contractors, and finally, the true cost breakdown.
All right, let's jump right into part one: extreme weather threat.
You know, Oklahoma's unique hazards go way beyond the famous Tornado Alley storms or that crazy baseball-sized spring hail that shatters shingles. We've also got shifting red clay soil that messes with your foundation and puts stress on the roof structure. Oh, and if you live near Tinker Air Force Base, you're dealing with constant aircraft vibrations. Add in the flat terrain wind exposure and winter freeze-thaw cycles that force microscopic cracks wide open, and your home is basically under structural attack year-round. It's a compounding effect. One weather event weakens the system just in time for the next one to strike.
Which brings us to part two: how roofs actually fail.
So here's the really sneaky, insidious journey of a roof leak. First, a shingle or some flashing fails way up on the roof surface, totally out of sight. Second, water sneaks in and silently travels along your rafters and decking. Third, boom, a nasty water stain finally shows up on your ceiling. But the wild thing is, that stain is almost always far away from the actual hole in the roof. The damage hides in plain sight while slowly rotting the wood underneath. By the time you actually see a drip in your living room, the structural damage has probably been spreading for months.
Moving on to Section 3, upgraded building codes.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between older homes and modern standards. Before 2021, building codes only required 4 fasteners per shingle. But thanks to the 2021 code updates, Oklahoma amendments now require 6 fasteners per shingle in high wind zones. That is a massive upgrade in wind uplift defense that older homes completely lack. It totally explains why those 60-mile-per-hour winds we talked about are so devastating to outdated roofs. Without those extra physical anchors, the shingles just cannot hold the line against the severe storm.
And if you want the ultimate defense, you need to know this piece of industry jargon: Class 4 impact-resistant shingles. Basically, these are roofing products that pass rigorous testing by resisting damage from 2-inch steel balls dropped right onto them from specific heights. This UL 2218 test essentially mimics worst-case hail scenarios. Now, sure, they aren't entirely hail-proof, nothing really is when you get massive chunks of ice, but these drastically reduce the severity of the damage. Plus, having them installed can often score you a really nice discount on your insurance premiums, making them a super smart long-term investment.
Let's pivot to Section 4, spotting bad contractors.
Okay, I know this direct question is on the mind of every single homeowner after a major storm. How can you tell if a roofer's lying?
And it's a completely valid anxiety. High-pressure scams flood into neighborhoods almost as fast as the rain does. It is absolutely crucial to protect yourself from opportunistic fraud when your home is already vulnerable.
It really comes down to a clear profile of who to avoid. On one hand, you have storm chasers. These guys show up totally unannounced, demand cash only upfront, and actively dodge pulling permits, which, by the way, dangerously leaves you legally liable for their uninspected work. Contrast that with local professionals. They maintain a permanent presence in the community, give you itemized written quotes, and expertly coordinate with building permits and insurance adjusters. Honestly, the second you hear this special discount expires today or get offered a cash under the table deal, just walk away immediately.
And finally, Section 5, the true cost breakdown. So here's a massive reality check captured perfectly in this quote. Labor is the most expensive component of roof replacement, not materials. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive. Homeowners spend hours and hours obsessing over shingle brands and material costs. But it's the people actually climbing up there and doing the physical installation that drive the cost, and for a very good reason.
Let's look at what that labor is actually paying for. It covers the grueling heavy lifting of tear-off and disposal, the meticulous decking inspection to hunt down hidden rot, and the precise installation of your underlayment. Not to mention proper flashing techniques around your chimney and vents, which is exactly where most roofs leak. It also pays for structural repairs and ensuring your ventilation is up to code to fix that 150-degree attic oven we discussed. Trust me, if you try to cut corners on these labor steps to save a few bucks, you are just begging for voided warranties and incredibly expensive fixes down the line.
You're probably thinking, can I just wait it out for prices to drop? Well, here is the harsh reality. Prices aren't dropping. And waiting only gives water more time to silently rot out your rafters. Plus, there's a very real financial trap here. Insurance companies will often actively penalize you for waiting by reducing coverage or flat out denying claims once a roof hits that 15 to 20-year mark. So, dragging your feet doesn't save you money, it usually costs you way more in the end.
Which brings us to our final, really crucial thought. Knowing that Oklahoma roofs deteriorate 30% faster, we have to ask, is your 20-year-old roof already secretly failing? Given the insane heat, those straight-line winds, and the sneaky leaks we've unpacked in this explainers today, yeah, the odds are it probably is. So I highly encourage you to take a good look at your property, check out your ventilation, and consider getting a pro out there to see where you actually stand. Stay focused, stay informed, and we'll see you on the next explainer.